My lords, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to episode 32, if my count is correct, of our Transport Fever 2 Deluxe DLC series that is based somewhere in the fictional American Southwest. Not that the American Southwest is fictional, but our location certainly is. Now, this area we are currently looking at is what was, or what still is, to be fair, the busy junction that is just on the outskirts of, I forgot the name of the town. It's near Haywood anyway. It's one of the first lines and junctions we set up back in the early initial episodes. As you can tell, if you cast your mind back to how it originally looked, there have been some upgrades, some modifications and some changes to this junction. The reason being is we have a lot of traffic down here in terms of our freight, and it was causing horrendous slowdowns. So what I decided to do is, off camera, I have expanded the length of some of our consists that are being pulled by trains such as the Big Boy. That was something I said I would do, and I have done that. And then what I wanted to do is just allow the game to play with the date paused, obviously, just to make sure they wouldn't start blocking junctions, getting in each other's way and causing our whole logistics supply line to grind to a halt. Now that did happen, so I've had to make tweaks and changes at various points across our entire network, one of which being this junction here. The main culprit that was causing us some issues down here was the fuel train up to Knoxville. So I decided, while I was supervising and monitoring the status of those modifications to the consists, to go ahead and just rework this junction as well. So to give you a better idea, we have some tankers unlocked. 75-mile-per-hour tankers. That's a little bit early, isn't it, for the 75-mile-an-hour freight? Unless these are just modified tankers, they might be looking at the reskin options that are available. But we might want to use them anyway, come to think of it, maybe on the line to Knoxville, for instance. But we'll come back to them in a few moments. Just skip through these, because yep, they were all just reskins of the same tanker. And if we bring up our line overview, before this was quite a mishmash of bi-directional lines, so trains had to wait for other trains to clear. We had 3, 4, sometimes even 5 services sharing a single stretch of track, which was causing horrendous slowdowns. But as we can see now, they've been spread out just a little. I've built a flyover, and this is for, in fact, if we just do that so it only shows us the lines currently visible on the screen, this stone and brick line that runs all the way from Chandler up to New Haven, this has now had a flyover installed, so this is completely clear of the main portion of the junction. We do still have some interaction as we pass through the city of New Haven. That's the city whose name I couldn't remember. But it is a lot more free-flowing. What I've also done is upgraded some of the passenger lines to use the high-speed tracks now, because we do have trains that are capable of exceeding 75 miles per hour, and our passenger coaches are also capable of exceeding that speed as well. And fortuitously we have one passing through here. This is the William Smith, and hopefully we will see it get up to some sort of high speed, although it's only a short distance now on its journey into New Haven. But we can already see it's picking up some decent speed. Previously, of course, it would have been capped at 75 miles per hour, and in fact if we just follow along, we can keep this open here and we can see if we are able to exceed that. I'm not sure we will be able to, because we're coming up to the junctions for approach into a platform, and yeah, we're starting to slow down. But I dare say that during some point of their journey they are able to really open up. And I think what would help is if perhaps this bit here where it goes to a single track, we double track this between here and here. That should help them get up to speed, because if they ever have to wait here for this block, this single track block to clear, they're of course going to lose a lot of their speed. So I think we'll do that first of all actually. Today's episode, I think it will just be, well, we do need to get the machinery that we've recently started production of over in Sioux Falls. We do need to get that machinery brought into the city of Norfolk, of course, so that is something I would like to do today. But other than that, I think we might dedicate this episode to perhaps just looking at our existing lines and seeing where we can make a few changes across our network. Regardless, what we can do now is, like I said, open this up, put some extra blocks in where before it was just a single block that was shared, and we might have to revert or convert these to double slip switches. I am not sure, but we'll do it anyway just to make sure that this depot does have access to this line in both directions. It would have access that way, so that double slip switch is not needed, but this one here certainly is. So we can restart the game now, and what else has changed here? This line up here to Knoxville, this has also been increased, and we can see we're making full utilization of that. We're going now in excess of 100 miles per hour on our service between Knoxville and Haywood, so very worthwhile change. And over here we did have quite a long stretch of single track through this tunnel, and at this junction just here, that's now been changed to be double track, and again that's just to keep things flowing as smoothly as we possibly can. And I did a few reworks here, basically where the lines merge together and at what point we start to share. And again, that was because we were getting trains that were blocking junctions and they couldn't get anywhere, and the train that was blocking them couldn't get anywhere because the junction that they were waiting to go through was blocked by the train. So we had a standoff in effect, although it didn't register up here on the warning icon, which is sometimes a little unfortunate, but I suppose it would be difficult to code a way for the game to pick up on those sorts of conflicts. Okay then, so as discussed, the first thing we really want to get done is to make sure we can get the machines that are being produced down here. Well, it's actually Murrieta, it's not Sioux Falls, but yes, where the station's Sioux Falls, the factory itself is Murrieta. It makes sense for it to be Sioux Falls, it's the same side of the river, even if Murrieta is perhaps closer as the crow flies. Regardless of the whatever name it's decided to assign to itself, we want to get the machines from here into our city in Norfolk. Now we do have a line, of course, this one here, that supplies the grain to the food plant, and then of course the then produced food into Norfolk. So what we'd look to do is perhaps somehow connecting one of these platforms somewhere here, or perhaps we could come up this way, branch off and connect up over here. So let's see what platform we would want to use. It would have to be platform number 2. That's our current vacant platform. So how would we want to do that? Let's see, first of all, could we do it this way, because that's a shorter journey. So we'll turn the catenary off. If we are able to do this, of course it's going to be rather slow, but there's not much we can do about that. We're working in quite a confined area. It looks like it's going to be a little bit tricky, especially if we try it from that direction, but coming from this direction it looks a lot smoother and a lot more straightforward. And the speed isn't too bad. We are near a stopper anyway, so that's not really a problem. And anything over 50 miles an hour is more than acceptable for the time being, because of course the vast majority of our services, our freight services, they are limited to 50 miles an hour, and that's a result of the wagon speeds that they're having to deal with, of course. Okay, so if we do that, that will work. And then if we put a crossing point there, that means they can only use platform number 2 from this direction, so we don't have to worry about them changing platform assignments at any time. We'll give them a stopping signal here, so we've got somewhere to wait if something is being loaded already on the platform. And then we'll put some blocks, maybe one there and one there, although that one we'd have to be careful of our train length, because it could wait there and end up blocking the progress of our grain trains that are passing on through this area, of course. We'll go ahead and put a signal there and there, and that will obviously marshal the grain trains as well as the machinery train that's coming down this way, and it will control their progress through that junction, make sure everything flows fairly nicely. We'll put a short signal there so we keep this block fairly short so it can get cleared in theory as quickly as possible. And in fact I'm tempted to remove that signal there, and I think I will do now that I think about it, just to avoid the potential for a train to block the entire junction and hold up our grain trains, especially because if we're waiting for a full load here, they could be waiting quite a while, especially in the initial portion of the line until the demand really starts to kick in. So I think at this point we'll probably squeeze in one extra block, because we're going to have at least an additional 2 trains running down here, so that would be a total of 4 trains, the 2 grain trains and the 2 that are destined for the city of Norfolk. I probably don't want them to pass through this station here, so I think what we'll end up doing at this point is maybe after this set of signals here, or we'll remove the signals because we'll need to rework them, is have our line that's going to be destined for Norfolk branch away. Let's just see if we can get this looking relatively decent. I think that needs to be raised a little bit. Nope, too far. Maybe there, maybe that. That looks okay. No, I think that's going to be too high. I'm trying to visualize how the parallel track is going to look. I think that is where we want it to be, and we can find out now when we lay this track down and look how it interacts here. Not quite perfect, is it? Let's just do it again, but this time it would be perhaps wiser if we laid this track down first, because this is the one that would cause any issues. As we can see here, we have that overlapping of the ballast onto this line here, which we'd want to avoid just for aesthetic reasons more than anything. And now it's going to give us a collision, which is unfortunate. Let's see, can we do anything about that? Oh, that looks good. And given how picky it can be at times, I think that's as good as we'll get it. So we'll go with that, then double track it. Yep, that looks quite pleasing. And let's see, perhaps if we cut through here, we can rejoin somewhere in this area, in this little forest. So let's have this, and we'll use the internal track here. And as we know, as I've explained in many times in the past, if your internal track is 75, then you guarantee that your external track will be 75 miles per hour as well. Collision there, that's unfortunate. So what we might do then is just temporarily remove this road, allow our track to have the priority, so to speak, and then just fit in the road around the track. So that looks fine. A couple of tunnels, we can maybe do away with that tunnel there. Yeah, that looks okay. So we'll accept that. Let's just pop down here and just get a rough idea as to what height we're going to be working at. 12 meters, okay. So if we can get this down to about 12 meters, or up to 12 meters, because we are currently at 9, then we're giving ourselves every realistic chance of having a pretty decent junction when we bring them together. So let's now bring out our parallel track. What do we have here? The Amtrak Day 1 E8B Fantasy, I'm not sure what that means. The B&O EMD E8 number 1345. The B&O 1450 reverse unit. Another one. And another one. Just pause it here. And another one. And another. And another. And another. We have another. And another. And another. And another. And another. And I'm getting to that point now where the word another no longer sounds like a word, but just sounds like a noise. Even more. Even more. Even more. Good word. Good lord. This is a big unlock. I think these are all mods. I don't recognise any vanilla trains. I think these are based on the Santa Fe. I might be mistaken, but we're still going. Good heavens. Is there no end to it? Well, 1949 was apparently a good year for diesels. Oh, there we go. How many was that, do we think? 25, perhaps? It was quite a lot anyway. We can have a look at them in a moment because, of course, we are going to be building a new train, and that's going to be running our machinery into the city of Norfolk. Right, now we want this to stay at the current height, which is 12 meters. So let's do that. Do we want a tunnel there? I don't think that in fact, no, I think we will go for a tunnel there. And let's have you come in, and we'll have this really high speed if we can, 75 miles per hour. How does it look? Ooh, it's a little bit off, but maybe we can just fine-tune it. No. As soon as you use shift and arch modifications, well, for me it's a Z and X key, I don't know what they are by default, it seems to cause a collision, so you have to use the bigger step rather than the fine controls, but it looks okay, it's certainly passable. And then let's bring out our second link line here, in like so. Oh, I've still got the game paused, apologies. So here we're going to have to look at blocking this junction nicely. So the usual setup with the 3 signals for each direction, like that. And then I'll do my usual of having a short signal in either direction. We've already got one there, so that's okay. And I think we'll use a dwarf signal for this part here. And then as we head up here, we're probably going to want to add more blocks because I think we have, is it 1 or 2 trains bringing in the food, and we're going to have probably 2 trains bringing in the machinery. So we want to give them every opportunity to be as free-flowing as we possibly can. Maybe, we don't need any blocks down here because they won't be headed this way. This is just for the food delivery. So this bit here is for machinery delivery, so this bit we can keep the blocks relatively spaced out, and it shouldn't cause too many problems. So there. Let's have a short signal there, which is going to be for this junction, and there and there. And then let's now use the 3-headed signal lights for that, and I think that is good to go. Let's just make sure we can get into a dedicated platform over here, and yes we can because we have this crossing diamond right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a signal there because this block is quite long and we don't want our train to be stuck on the platform while another train perhaps is heading out. Okay, so I think now we're ready to set up the line itself. So we are coming from the Sioux Falls Machinery Factory into Norfolk. Machines, they're sort of like a grey colour. Might go for a darker grey for this one. So you're coming out that way, that's great. Yep, you're taking this bypass line, then merging back together, and you've opted to share a platform. Well, I'd prefer you to go separate, like so, and everything else should be okay. Yeah, it's not made any unexpected changes to the rest of the line, so that's great. These we want to be fully loaded, so we'll set the departure configuration there. They shouldn't pick up any planks or steel. Well, they definitely won't because we'll be using boxcars, and boxcars are incompatible with the planks and the steel, so we don't need to worry about this over here, the filters. So what we can do now is just name it, and this is machinery, and we are coming from Sioux Falls, even though the game has named the industry the Marietta Machinery Factory, and we are heading into Norfolk. There we go. Before we get the train, I'll just quickly redo this road, because if I don't do it now, I will forget. Where's it going? It's going up there, so yeah, we can't replicate it with the dirt track, unfortunately, so it's going to change to asphalt, which is going to make it look a little bit odd, but it's nothing to really concern ourselves with. And I think we'll have it head downwards with a view to tunnelling underneath. Will it give us a tunnel there? No, but if we just give it a little depression like that, then it will. And in fact, let's just push that back a little further, just so we make the slope as we emerge from this tunnel as gentle as possible. There we go. Okay, so that's all fine. I'll probably smooth off some of this off camera with the smoothification tool in the terraforming toolbox. For now, we want to get that train up and running. And what depot do we want to use? Well, previously we've been using the one all the way over there, but if we were to use that one, well, I suppose they could, yeah, they would go into Norfolk first, because they can, I believe, come down here. So yeah, we'll use that depot again. It means they've got a bit of a travel ahead of them before they get to their station, but it's not the biggest problem in the world. And well, we unlocked all those diesels, didn't we? So shall we take a look at those? Here we go, the EMD, yep, we've got 8, 19, blah blah blah, yeah, probably about 25 to maybe even 35 there. Right, so what do we want to use? Well, I may as well use one of these. They're quite fast. 65 miles per hour, but that's the reverse unit, isn't it? Ah, there we go, that's the additional engine unit. 102 miles per hour. Are they all the same? I guess they will be. Oh no, the emissions change. Oh, you're only 65 mile per hour. You might be good enough. What's the war bonnet? 102. The blue bonnet. I like the colour on that. Let's go for a blue bonnet. Do we want to give it a B unit as well? It's probably overkill to give it a an extra unit there, so I think we'll skip that. Go to our cargo. There's the new tankers that we unlocked, so we could replace our existing tank car fleet if we wanted to. Boxcar is what we're looking for here. We used the darker grey, so we'll give them the darker grey colour scheme. And let's go from 120 and then back to the diesel locos, remove the colour, and we want the EMD reverse unit. And is that the blue? But no, I think it's that one there, isn't it? Well, we can check, because we can just go here. It's number 334. So do we have a number 334 here? Let's have a look. Not there. Do we have reverse units here? Let's have a look. So there's our forward facing blue bonnet. I did see a couple. Oh, we have one, but that's a Union Pacific F7 1485. I don't think they're what we're looking for. Nope. That's even bigger, so that's not what we're looking for. So it would be in here. We don't have the 334, and I can't see blue bonnet anywhere. So I think we're just going to have to find the nearest equivalent, which I think is this one, the 332. Let's add one of those. Where's the add button gone? Have I just gone mental? Why can't I see the add button? Am I missing something here, or have I just gone insane? Where's the button to add? I'm having some sort of fantastic brain fart at the moment. Where's the add button? I must be missing something here, guys. This is probably exceptionally frustrating to watch. Trust me, it's a lot more frustrating for me, because I think I might have gone mad, or don't suppose, yeah. There's usually, am I missing that? Have I just made that up? Have I just really confused myself? I guess I have. Anyway, we got there in the end. Apologies for that. So we'll have 2 of those as we discussed. That's 27.5 million. Now let's see, as I said, in theory they should be able to assign themselves to this line, but it means they will have to go to Norfolk first of all. And indeed they've managed to assign without any complaints. So those tank cars that we unlocked, the 75 mile per hour tank cars, do we want to use them? If we do, I think I'd prefer to use them sparingly at the moment and only use them on a few services. Or maybe like this service down here, this Athens to Clearwater service. Let's manage vehicles, let's do 2, edit that. So at the minute you're using the 2705, which is, I don't know, 2705, see if we can find it. There we go, it's the CN0284 Class K4 number 2705. So you do 70 miles an hour, so you're not actually fast enough. Maybe we'll swap out for a Virginian, or maybe just a the nickel plate road, the 759. Yeah, I'm sure there used to be an add button, you know. I really am. I'm very confused at the moment. Anyway, let's replicate the consist capacity using our new cargo wagons. 10 variants. I'm not gonna go through the rigmarole of, you know, mixed and matching the various colours. There definitely used to be an add button, didn't there? Anyway, enough about that. We know we can just double click. Let's we'll put the wagons together first, and then we can just send the caboose to the back manually. So 204, or as near as possible 216. Now send you to the rear. Now it's actually a shorter train. Obviously you've got fewer wagons, I guess, and the speed is pretty good. In fact, it's superior, even though it's only rated as good versus a rating of excellent. So I think that's what we'll do. So now what we'll do is go back to here, replace all, and we'll just do it in one fell swoop. So we opted for the... No, it wasn't you, it was a nickel plate road, wasn't it? Yes. Yeah, I'm sure there used to be an add button. Stop talking about the add button. Right, so that's that. 10 variants, we'll just use the BNSF. Oh, there it is. Was it there for the... Why is the add button not there for the... that's very strange. Sorry. Just... Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, anyway. What did we have? 216? Yep, that's it. And we will put the caboose on the back. So wagons, there's the caboose. So 72 million to replace those. So that's one service upgraded. Do we want to also upgrade... Oh, what do we have here? The Ashalp or the Axalp. I'm not quite sure the pronunciation there. The Viola. GMD, Toronto, Hamilton and Buffalo. GP7. A variant of thereof. New box cars. All America Gold in Sand. New gondolas. New flat cars. And of course the vanilla tank cars as well. GMD, GP7, another Toronto, Hamilton and Buffalo variant. So the time has come then. We're not going to do it in today's episode, I don't think, and I might do the bulk of it off camera because it can be a little tedious, I'm sure, especially when the guy sat between the chair and the keyboard gets confused as to where the add button is. But yeah, the time has come to upgrade and modernise our freight services, so I will do, like I said, the majority off camera, but we'll leave a couple to do together at the start of the next episode. We're not going to end it just yet because I think we'd like to perhaps upgrade this service here that runs up to Knoxville. We only have one train running this service, okay, so we can manage this vehicle. You've got the Class 9000. Where is our 9000? Let's see if we can spot it. 62 miles per hour, so you're not good enough. We could electrify, but it would be a lot of work, so we'd have to electrify a lot of track. Maybe you. That's the 1204 unlettered, so it's kind of equivalent-ish to the 9000 in terms of its pulling power. So that's an option, or the obviously the reskin variants of that. The Polar Express, no, that's just a little, I won't say it's a gimmick train, it's just a Easter egg, I think is the best way to determine that. These are these all 70? Yeah, so we don't want one of those. The big boy is 81, but I want to reserve that for the the really long services. But it is tempting. We did unlock some new trains, of course. What are these? 65, so they're not really going to cut it. These could, the power's poor though, but we could double head. Maybe one of these diesels. Let's see. I quite like those yellow ones, the Union Pacific. I mean, they are overkill, and we would have to double head it just to get that power rating. So 300 capacity is what we're aiming to replicate. So let's just do a swap out. We will use those and double head it. So add that there. That's where the add button is. Yeah, forget about it. What was it? 300 capacity? We'll just use the vanilla ones for this. I think they have the same capacity, yes, and lower emissions actually. So yeah, they're a better option just for the savings on the emissions. So 306 is the nearest replication we can get. Then we want a reverse engine, Union Pacific. That's only mediocre, but it is travelling a fair old distance, isn't it? But I don't know if that's going to be good enough. If we do have to start at some of the junctions, are we going to get up to that speed quick enough? What are you, 65? You're more for passengers, so other than we do have some alcos on our freight lines, I think they're primarily designed to pull passengers. Let's go back up here. There is the option of the big boy, but I'm thinking maybe the Berkshire. That's better. The other one was a medium gradient 75 miles an hour in 6 minutes, so that is better. That's 3400 kilowatt. The big boy really does smash it out of the park. Maybe your Virginian. Let's go for, they're all the same. Let's go for the 507. That's more like it. And that way we still retain the big boy for these, for the creme de la creme, if you will, of our freight services. So let's replace him as well. There we go. And let's have a look at this fella. Whereabouts are you on our map? So immediately we should see a return on the upgrade, because they will now be able to get up to see, this is what I was worried about, sorry, with those Union Pacific diesels. When it comes to slowing down and picking that speed back up again, they wouldn't be quite as good at it as this train is, or with the big boy, for instance, or one of the electrified ones. But of course, as I said, that would just be too much work. While we're here, actually, this is another junction that got a rework as well. I've spread the platforms out, and we now have passing services through the middle, and we can see the effect that has had here. So this train can now pass straight through without any sort of delay. Obviously we might have to wait a little bit, as we saw there, for the junction to clear, but we're not having to wait for anything that is on the platform, which is a vast improvement. So yeah, we don't need 2 services, we can still only 98 on the platform, and you're almost back. So one thing we will have to do is these stone bridges will have to be replaced with iron bridges wherever we find them. So that's something I'll probably do off camera again, although it doesn't take long and it's not too finicky, because we're going from a track point to a track point, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Where else do we have a stone bridge? Over here. And you're a freight service, so yeah, you're gonna suffer. Oh, you're gonna drop down to, is it 58 mile per hour, 54 mile an hour, compared to the 75 or whatever it is for the iron bridge. I think we don't have many other bridges in and around the area so far. I think there's one up here, Well, now we've got 2 up here, so they'll need swapping out. 1 there needs swapping, 1 there. And I think that is pretty much it. I don't think there's any rivers down here. There might be bridges where we're coming from a high elevation downwards, but in terms of river bridges, I think we've identified them all. But enough about that. Like I said, I'll do that on camera, like I said, because it should be fairly straightforward. Let's have a cab ride outro, shall we? What do we want to ride on? Well, we have a new train down here, don't we? Running from the machinery factory. Where are they? Is it? Yeah, you're one of them. And where are you going? Have you only just made it to there? Well, that took you a while. Where's your counterpart? I'm hoping you're up here somewhere. There you... Oh no, you're the food line, so you're not the one I'm looking for. So there's one. Where's our second one? Ah, there it is. Yeah, I was going to ride on them back, but it's going to take a while for them to get up to Norfolk for the ride back to the Marietta Machinery Factory. Why don't we then take a ride, because we know this train's about to get here. We'll get to see the full utilisation of the new speed capability. Well, let's have a ride on you up to Knoxville. It might take a while to get that full load that you're going to have to wait for, so what we'll do is I'll of course pause the date speed, and I'll just let the game run at 4 times acceleration like so in the background, and then as we're departing the station I'll bring you guys back in for the cab ride. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've not left with a full load, as you can see in the bottom left on the screen. It was taking far too long, so we're running partially full for this journey, but that's not too much of a problem. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode and you are continuing to enjoy the series overall. At this point, I'd like to take a few moments to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters, whose support is absolutely invaluable and deeply appreciated. So thank you very much indeed. As always, the Patreon link is available in the description of the video, should anyone wish to check that out. But for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.